Most people with an IQ in the top 2% do not wake up in the morning, look in the mirror, and think about how incredibly smart they are. They don't feel like geniuses. Instead, they often wake up feeling like aliens. For most of society, intelligence is imagined as the ultimate advantage in life. We are taught to believe that if someone has an IQ over 130, they have essentially won a kind of biological lottery. The assumption is simple. A sharper mind must lead to easier success, greater opportunities, and a life filled with admiration and fulfillment. But modern psychology paints a far more complicated picture. For many highly intelligent individuals, their mind doesn't always feel like a gift. Sometimes it feels like a cage, a powerful engine that never truly powers down. It is constantly analysing conversations, replaying past events, predicting future outcomes, and questioning the deeper meaning behind everything they experience. While most people seem to move through life with a comfortable rhythm, the extremely high IQ mind often feels trapped in a silent inner storm. Beneath the surface, there can be relentless overthinking, social disconnection, and a strange sense of standing just outside the world everyone else seems to belong to. Today, we're going to explore the psychology behind that experience, the hidden layers of the gifted mind, the internal conflicts that come with extraordinary intelligence, and why the smartest person in the room is often the one who feels the most alone. From an early age, society tells us a very simple story about intelligence. If you are exceptionally smart, life will be easier. Teachers praise the gifted child. Movies celebrate the brilliant prodigy who grows up to change the world. We are surrounded by cultural images of the genius inventor, the tech billionaire, or the quiet intellectual who effortlessly rises to the top. The message is clear: intelligence is power. But reality is far more complicated. In psychology, an IQ score of around 130 or above is typically classified as gifted. These individuals often process information faster, grasp abstract ideas more easily, and make connections between concepts that others might miss. On the surface, this sounds like a tremendous advantage. Yet intelligence does not simply make someone better at solving problems. It reshapes the entire way their mind interacts with the world. A highly intelligent person does not just see solutions more quickly, they also see more complexity, more contradictions, and more possible outcomes in every situation. While others might experience life through relatively simple narratives, the gifted mind often perceives layers of uncertainty beneath everything. This is where the cultural myth begins to break down. Because intelligence does not automatically lead to happiness, confidence, or success. In many cases, it introduces new psychological challenges that most people rarely have to face. And for those living with an extremely active mind, the world can become a much more complicated place to navigate. One of the most defining psychological traits of people with extremely high IQ is something researchers often describe as a strong need for cognition. This term refers to a deep, almost biological drive to think, analyze, and mentally explore complex ideas. For the average mind, thinking is often a tool used only when necessary. But for the highly intelligent mind, thinking becomes a constant state of being. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as an internal motor. It is a mental engine that keeps running long after the external world has gone quiet. While others may finish a conversation and move on, the high IQ mind continues replaying it. They analyze the tone of voice, the hidden implications, the possible misunderstandings. A single moment can be examined from 10 different angles, each leading to a new chain of thoughts. This constant mental activity does not switch off easily. Imagine lying in bed late at night. The house is silent, the lights are off, and there's nothing demanding your attention. For many people, this is when the mind finally relaxes. But for someone with a highly active cognitive system, this is often when the internal motor becomes loudest. Their mind might jump from analysing a conversation earlier that day to imagining possible future scenarios, to questioning philosophical ideas about human behaviour or the direction of society. One thought leads to another, and then another. Within minutes, the brain is running multiple threads of analysis at once. Over time, this mental intensity can create a pattern of chronic overthinking. Highly intelligent individuals tend to simulate possibilities far into the future. They can anticipate potential risks, identify flaws in plans, and mentally explore outcomes that others might never consider. While this ability can be incredibly useful for problem solving, it also has a downside. When the brain sees too many possibilities, action becomes difficult. Psychologists sometimes call this analysis paralysis, the state where a person becomes so aware of every possible outcome that making a decision feels overwhelming. The same mind that is capable of remarkable insight can also trap itself in endless loops of prediction, doubt, and reflection. In many ways, the greatest strength of the gifted mind is also its greatest challenge. The internal motor allows it to explore ideas with extraordinary depth, but without balance, that same engine can make it very difficult to simply exist in the quiet simplicity of the present moment. Another hidden burden of a highly intelligent mind is something we might call the curse of awareness. Intelligence often sharpens a person's ability to recognize patterns, inconsistencies, and underlying motives in the world around them. While others may see events in simple, straightforward terms, the high IQ mind tends to notice the layers beneath the surface. They see contradictions in social systems, unspoken power dynamics in conversations, and the subtle ways people protect their own interests. Situations that appear ordinary to most people can trigger complex chains of interpretation for someone whose mind constantly searches for deeper meaning. At first, this ability feels like insight. It allows them to understand problems quickly, detect flaws in arguments, and recognize patterns that others might overlook. But over time, heightened awareness can become psychologically heavy. The more clearly someone sees the imperfections of the world, the harder it becomes to ignore them. A highly perceptive mind may notice the hypocrisy in institutions, the irrational behavior in group dynamics, or the fragile structures holding certain social systems together. While many people naturally filter out these complexities in order to move through life more comfortably, the highly analytical mind often struggles to look away. This can slowly lead to a sense of cynicism or quiet frustration. When you constantly see the hidden mechanisms behind events, it becomes harder to accept simple narratives about how the world works. In some ways, intelligence removes a layer of comforting illusion. The mind begins to recognize that many systems are imperfect, many decisions are irrational, and many outcomes are shaped by forces far beyond individual control. Awareness, in this sense, becomes a double-edged sword. It offers clarity and understanding, but it also carries the emotional weight of seeing more of reality than the average person is forced to confront. For a long time, intelligence was often misunderstood as something purely logical, cold, analytical, and detached from emotion. But a Polish psychologist named Kazimierz Dabrowski challenged that assumption in a profound way. Through decades of observing gifted individuals, he noticed something surprising. Highly intelligent people didn't just think more intensely than others, they also experienced the world more intensely. Dabrowski introduced a concept known as overexcitabilities. This term describes a heightened sensitivity of the nervous system, where certain individuals respond to internal and external stimuli with far greater intensity than average. In simple terms, their psychological volume dial is turned up much higher. He identified 5 major types of overexcitability that frequently appear in highly intelligent individuals. The first is intellectual overexcitability, a relentless curiosity and drive to understand how things work. People with this trait constantly ask questions, challenge assumptions,